Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
You.
Go.
Well, we are here. Yes, another. What do they call it? Another trip around the earth,
Well, no, around the sun.
around the
Not
sun.
the earth. We're not traveling around the earth. We're traveling around the sun. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. I feel sometimes like I'm traveling around, like just walking around the earth, which
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit about today.
Okay. Let's do it.
So thank you for joining us. This is Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching, and you are here uh, with Krista. I'm looking for moment of presence. I'm like, wait, where's moment of presence? Yes, you've joined us for a moment of presence, and it is Krista, the lovely Krista, and myself. And we are going to be talking today about, we're continuing our series on the elements and
Yep.
how to apply the elements into your life to enhance your life, to understand what's going on in your life, uh, to use it a little bit as a metaphor to understand even your emotions and how to manage your emotions. So, using the elements is, I mean, it's free and they're all around you. And so it's just a really good way. We are made of, elements. There's just everything is elements, which
Do you
I
want to touch on that a little bit as far as like the zodiac goes and what that means?
feel like I should put this on. Okay, so now we've
Oh, I
moved.
just realized that has fire in it. Wow, wow, okay.
This
Now I
is,
understand why you just, okay.
this is from the movie Elemental,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yep.
is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest everybody see it. But yes, there's fire, there's water, no, there's wind, and there's water and ground. Where's ground? I don't know.
I think
Anyway,
that might just be
my
water
head.
flame. It also reminds me of Elements, the skateboard brand, where it
Yeah.
was Flame Boy and was it Water Boy? I think it
Oh,
was
yeah.
Water Boy.
It was. I
Was it
think it
Water
was.
Boy? Even though Adam Sandler's Water Boy? I don't
I
remember. I just know Flame. I know the Flame Boy
I
was
don't
Flame.
know.
I don't
I
know.
think so.
Interesting.
Anyway,
Huh.
we're so off topic. Um,
No, we're not.
so yeah, I guess not. But getting serious a little bit. The when you're spark, right? We know when we're like on fire, like we're
Hold on. I just have to touch on fire elements, which you are, as an Aries, a fire element, are known for chaos, known for bouncing around topic to topic, moving really fast. And
it's my birthday.
I just have to note and make it a point of how this episode has started is the epitome of being a fire element. So I just needed to say that because it just really it's cracking me up so much, but I know if I start laughing, I'm not gonna stop. So I just had to include everybody in on my little joke in my head going on.
Well, and honestly, we were supposed to do wind today, but I knew it was my birthday, and I was like, "Well, I'm Aries, I'm fire, so it makes sense." And not only am I fire, but I have a friend that did my natal chart, and not only am I fire, I'm like all fire,
So
like
I actually pulled it up. You're somewhat balanced with fire and earth.
really.
Mhm.
Okay, so
But
fire,
I think it's that your fire placements are fire placements.
yes.
And what we mean by that, for those that aren't familiar with astrology and zodiac signs, is it's not just everyone talks about their sun sign. Oh, I'm a Libra, I'm a Pisces, I'm an Aries, I'm an Aquarius, whatever it is. But you actually, all of the planets have a sign associated with it, and so that's where a lot of the kind of jokes about I don't resonate with my sign come from, is because you're only basing it on that one sign that actually is only one very very small piece of your personality. But each of those signs also has an element associated with it. And so you may be, let's say, in your case, you're an Aries sun, but your entire chart, you may end up being more of water signs or more of earth signs. So it's not just about your sun sign. It's very,
It's
very fascinating when you start to dive into it.
it really is. It really is. And so, the element of fire is about and please add in
Mhm.
transformation, energy, raw power. It fuels your creativity, your purpose, your passion, your courage.
I go
It,
more basic with things like heat, light,
mhm,
energy. I think you said energy, but heat and light are what
energy,
I think of mostly.
emotions, right? Because your emotions could be all over the place. I mean, I guess they can with all of the elements, but the fire is what is going to really motivate you. And so there's people, which I think I'm looking at one that has low fire in their
Oh,
their
I'm
chart.
basically no fire, which honestly I have one fire sign, and it's one that's more, it's like generation based. So like everybody around my age has that sign in fire, but it's actually interesting how surprising it can be when you look at your chart.
Yeah. And so the way to feel balanced, and so when your emotions are off and you're off, you don't feel like life is going your way. One of the things you can look at is, well, am I tapping into what I need? And so one of the ways that Krista and I have looked at that is through our astrological chart. And so if I'm feeling very, low or unmotivated, then
Mhm.
I know that I need something fiery, right? Something fiery, like go and dance or
Mhm.
karaoke. You guys hear me talk about that all the time. Being creative,
Lay in the sun, be by,
lay in the
look at a
sun.
fireplace or a bonfire. But what's interesting with that too is that's helpful in both. So if you're feeling low or depleted, low energy,
Hmm.
it actually works on both ends of the spectrum. And that's where you can really start getting
Rise
into
to the
it.
stick.
But like, you can look at it as, am I low in what naturally resonates with me, or am I low because I don't have
Mhm.
a lot of that element?
Right.
So, like in your case, things like the dancing, the karaoke, sunbathing, things like that really charge you up. Whereas if you have, let's say, actually, actually, you are low in air. What represents air? Karaoke, singing, breath. You also
Yeah,
like to do a lot of deep breathing with meditation.
that's a
So
great point.
really, it would be the sunbathing and the dancing, though I also actually could see dancing even being air with the motion of your arms and
Right,
the
right.
movement. You actually do an incredible job at naturally balancing
Hmm.
your elements that you need.
Hmm.
Where for me, I'm super depleted in fire, which means, and I'm somewhat balanced in the others, which means I need to be doing more of those things like sunbathing, dancing, if we categorize that as fire. That's probably why I like fireplaces so much. I like
Yeah.
listening to fireplaces and crackling fire and things like that. So that's the kind of stuff that gives me that energy to get things done. Where for you,
Mhm.
it's like really keeping you balanced.
Yeah. And these are some of the simple things that you can
Mhm.
do to help basically diagnose yourself
Yeah.
when you're feeling off. And you don't have to, and, if you need to go to the doctor or mental health or counseling, that's all fine and good. But you can do some of this on your own until you can get there if you're to that point. But
Well, and we
understand,
also, all
go
of
ahead.
these things are very simple. They're very easy. It's a
Exactly.
great way to test before taking some major action.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you need an emergency situation, that's different. But
Right.
like, it's a good way to test of like where you are. Um, so it highly encourage people to look into this.
Yeah. If you're having a hard time, you're procrastinating, you're not taking action, you need some fire in your everyday. You need to add in.
Hmm.
If you are having a hard time even coming up with ideas, I was coaching writers, and they would get writer's block, and I would tell them, like, you need to go and move. You need to go, like, don't sit.
Yeah.
Sitting and just waiting is not going to do it. You've got to put some fire energy into that. And so
Yeah.
turning ideas into reality. When, what do you do when fire needs fuel?
Hmm.
It needs air. What happens when you cover fire and you choke it off,
That's where the
right?
karaoke comes in.
Hmm.
The
And
air.
then you feel stagnant and you feel stifled and you feel like claustrophobic and you
Is
need to
that with the water you're saying?
scream and leave it out. No, no, I'm talking about fire goes out when you cover it, right? When you
Mm-hmm.
cover it and you deplete it of oxygen, then there's no more fire. The fire goes out.
Mm-hmm.
Fire needs ground. It
Yep.
needs something to burn, and
Mm-hmm.
it needs a spark.
Mm-hmm.
So you need an idea, and it needs air,
Oh my,
water.
so much so.
Right,
I love this conversation.
water puts it out,
Mm-hmm.
which you
Yep.
know
Which is
if that
interesting because you do have significant water in your chart, which is why when you get emotional, you tend to feel less like, front and center, high energy. You do, and it's because the water is
it grounds me,
fire.
it brings me back down to ground.
Mm.
Because I can get wrapped up in the fire and the flames and let's say the embers go, chaotically floating around, but yet but put some water on it, try, which is sometimes why I'll watch a movie, which I want to discuss a movie with this topic that I watched over the weekend, and it helps ground me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Right,
that's
thank you.
why, I like to go into the pool or to the ocean, and I like to be around water. This can help you also when you're angry and you're frustrated, right? When your fire is the opposite. It's not the good fire with the motivation and the excitement. It's that fire of I'm angry and I'm frustrated and I'm ticked off. Well, what will calm it? Again, taking out the oxygen and giving it maybe some ground. You can put, dirt and sand. Think about it that in that way. If you're a visual, dirt and sand, like grounding, puts out a fire. It's suffocating it as well. So if you don't want to use the oxygen, wind and kind of go outside in nature, you can calm yourself with water, right? That puts out
That
fire.
could look like a shower, a
A
bath, the
shower, a
pool, the
bath,
jacuzzi, the beat, well, the ocean,
crying,
crying.
letting it out, releasing it. Sometimes also using, I know it sounds, crazy, but yeah, using your creativity for
Mm-hmm.
your anger. I remember, I when you would color, if you color and your colors that you're using, the color crayons you're using or the paint you're using are very dark, it's probably because you have a lot of anger. And when it turns into a lighter color and a lighter flow of the colors and the hues, then you realize that your emotions are changing. So you can use creativity within, in the fire, to kind of see where are you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so interesting when you dive into this, and this is why I love working with emotions, and this is all a part of the emotional liberation, because once you get it all, you can actually understand where you're at. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just so cool. So what do you do when you have that angry and you're frustrated and you have all the negative energy, negative fire energy in you? Use it for something good. Use it to go work out,
Mm-hmm.
power through, use the fire of that, put motivation into it. And if you're angry about something and it's something that you can do something about, then do something about it. I don't mean go punch somebody. I mean, if
Get a
it's
punching bag.
get a punching bag, or if you're upset that there's people that don't, they're homeless and they don't have food, well, then go work at the homeless shelter. Like, motivate yourself and go do something about it. Don't
Channel
just
it in a
sit
healthy
there.
way.
Yes, thank you. Channel it in a healthy way. Wow, that was a much easier way to say that.
Your fire just wanted to take you on a loop. That's
It
all.
was just.
Hmm.
All right. So different signs that your fire has dimmed.
Hmm.
Uh, Uninspired. You're feeling stuck in your routine.
Well, and this is if your fire is dimmed or if you are typically low in fire
Yes.
from your elemental makeup. Go ahead.
Yes. Procrastination, lack of motivation. We've talked about that. Things that you once loved, not so much anymore. You're not as fired up about going and doing whatever it was. Um,
Hmm.
Emotionally exhausted when something usually gets you excited, but
Hmm.
now it's just exhausting you. Talking to your friends or going to a party, maybe that used to really excite you, but now it just depletes you. And so looking at that and going, okay, what do I need to do? How can I shift so that my inner light is not fading? Because you want to make sure that your inner light is coming through. And that would be when not just your fire is in alignment, but when all of your elements are aligned. And then your inner light can shine even brighter. So I know this may sound a little kooky today, but trust me, it all flows together, and we're going to be talking about it for the next couple of weeks. So hang in there. Um, so fire in the bigger picture, if fire needs balance. We know this, right? If we have too much, it gets out of control.
Hmm.
Uh, it can burn itself out too.
Hmm.
And if there's too little, then it fades away.
Yep.
Um, it is okay to have embers smoldering before the flames return. So sometimes we do have to take a break. Have you ever, and you and I have done this before. We've had a bonfire one night and then we come out the next morning and like it's still going, but it's
Yep.
just little embers. And even that is just, it's so relaxing to watch that, I think, for me
Hmm.
anyway. For those of you that are just joining us, please make sure that you share, like, subscribe, do all of those good things. But definitely send this out to somebody who you think could use
Who
this,
needs a little fire in their life?
needs a little fire in their life, and some elemental understanding in their life, just to be in more balance. Um, so I think what I want to do right now before we go into like how to take action is I want to take a moment of presence, but we're going to do it a little differently today. You are going to have to close your eyes, so if you can't close your eyes because you're driving, don't close your eyes, but come back to this and do it. It'll be 20 minutes into the video. So just real 2 minutes we're going to take. Uh, so I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. I want you to hold it for a moment. And I want you to exhale slowly out of your mouth. Keep your eyes closed. And I want you to put your hands on your stomach or right around your belly button. And just imagine just a glowing ember. It's deep in your belly, your solar plexus, the sun of our soul. And this ember represents your inner fire, your passion, the energy, your purpose. And with each inhale, what I want you to do as you inhale and exhale is I want you to breathe life into this ember. So I want you to create this ember and make it brighter, make it stronger, make it more steady. So deep breath in and out, in and out. And just imagine that golden flame just getting brighter and brighter. And I want you to release anything that could be potentially dimming your light, such as, I want you just to see them floating up like little ashes and embers do. Just let go of the doubt, just let go of fear, just for a moment. Let go of the exhaustion. Just let it all burn away. Keep breathing. going in and out, and just see that flame growing. Feel the warmth in your belly. Maybe the warmth is spreading down to your toes. Hopefully, it's spreading up as well, filling up your heart. You just keep watching that fire and keep inhaling and exhaling and watching it grow. The excitement. Think about when you're a kid, you have the bonfire and you just know that you're going to get that marshmallow and you're going to get to toast it. And I want you to feel that warmth in your throat as well, because a part of fire and flame is about speaking your truth. So this is also about fueling your voice. So not just going down, but going up as well. This is going to give you energy to say what the things that you need to say, the things you may be holding back. And as it goes down into your legs, it gives you the energy to move forward with purpose. So another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And I'm going to add in a little affirmation. So deep breath in. I am fire. I am passion. Exhale. My spark is alive and it is burning bright. And one last deep breath in. And another exhale out. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I hope that was cool. You can do that anytime that you feel like you need to reignite some fire, when you need some passion, when you need some motivation. That's something that you can do. When you're feeling disconnected from your spark, from your passion, it's not gone. It's just simmering. It's there. It's just under the ashes. So it's just about increasing it and bringing it back to life again. That's all. Um, I was watching a movie this weekend, and it was called The Life List, and I absolutely recommend it. It is on Netflix. Um, it's not a tearjerker. Yes, there's an element of a bit of sadness there for a moment, but the way that they did this movie, it's just really well done and so good. And it's called The Life List, and it's about just a young girl, a young woman, um, who's lost her spark and wants to find and needs to find her way, but she doesn't realize that she's lost her spark actually. So that's what's really cool about it. So what can you do? So here's some things. So I've got some paper, write it down. But what I want you to think about, some action items. Follow your curiosity. What you know Passion isn't uh doesn't just always strike like lightning. Sometimes it does. You get like this, great idea. But it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it's more of a slow burn, and that's okay too. So instead of waiting for the big revelation, take some small steps. What's one little thing that makes you happy? What's one little thing that you can do that has you excited, that you're looking forward to for the day? What interests you, and then follow that thread, right? Follow that. um, Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a conversation with somebody, but if there's a little bit of interest, dive into it, see what's there. um, Revisit the past sparks, and you'll see that a lot in the movie Life List. What used to get you excited when you were a kid? I used to love riding my bike. um, Krista and I, one day we took a break and we just got on our bikes and we just needed a breather. And we did. We rode the bikes up and down the street, and we felt more invigorated. We had
I
more
mean, the
motivation.
air and the wind of riding the bike fueled your fire, and it's a native sign for element for me. So yeah,
Yeah. If when you were a kid, you loved being told a story, like somebody reading you a story, freaking go listen to Audible. Go let them tell you a story. Um,
I actually don't like that.
even if it's a kid's book, and it's a book that you used to love. Try something new. Doesn't have to be something that you've done before. Try something completely new. Shake it up. Take a class.
That's
Um,
actually really big if you don't have a lot of fire in your chart naturally.
mhm.
That's the kind of thing that'll get fire going for you is to go outside of your comfort zone. As uncomfortable as it is, it's the biggest way I find to get your like inner fire.
Yeah. It's so important because stagnation kills fire. And so if you're not moving and you're not doing anything, it's going to kill your fire. Nothing grows in a comfort zone. How many times have we heard that? But it's true. So if there's a hobby, something that you haven't done in a while, Chris is talking about Color Me Mine, which is a place down here where you color, you go and you
No, okay,
do
don't
pottery. No,
color. Paint the
it's not
pottery,
color. You
and then they fire it, and you have mugs and plates, and we
I
did a
wish
sauce,
I wish I
like
had
sauce
something.
pourer. I know.
I don't have anything.
That's why we
Um,
need to go.
you're right. You're right. Okay, fine. Um, passion often hides in the unknown. So when you try something new, you may find that you are actually super passionate about it. And it you just hadn't tried it before. Um, passion is felt. So it's not always about thought. You have to really feel the energy of it. You can't fake it. Um, most people that are in a relationship, you can't fake passion. You can't fake
You can try,
fire.
but you're
You
not
can
fooling
try,
anybody.
but it's not going to feel good for anybody. So you want to waken up the energy, the inspiration. Breath work is really good. Believe it or not, sitting in silence because you are activating all of your chakras. And you can do the chakra meditations are wonderful. If you need any advice on any of those, on Insight Timer, I have a whole playlist sitting and waiting there for you under Moksha Grace Coaching. And there's a lot of chakra work in there too. Asking yourself, what do I need right now? But here's the thing, you have to actually listen to the answer. You can't just tell yourself the answer. You have to listen from within. And so asking, what do I need right now? And then being open to hearing what the answer is, no matter what it is. Today's my birthday. And what do I need right now? I'm getting it on Saturday. It is a ice cream cake. That is what I need. So thank you, Krista, for ordering that one for me. It's the one from when I was a kid. Um, the other thing is when we need inspiration, when we need motivation, sometimes the best way to do that is to be in service to others,
Mm.
is to go out and share your spark with someone else, share a joy with somebody else, not just focus inward, but focus outward. What can you do for a friend in need? What can you do? Can you just listen? Can you be there with them? Simply showing kindness, hold the door open for somebody. There's that I love the thing that people do where they buy the coffee for the person behind them. I think that that's so fun, and then see how far it goes. How many people do that? Um, Put some water, extra waters in your car, and if you see somebody, on the street, and they, at least down here in Florida, they hold up signs. My husband will hand them a thing of water and say, here's some water. It looks like it's pretty hot out here. So just being kind to people, give someone a smile, if nothing else. Um, you don't have to find one big passion that defines you. You can be made up of a lot of little passions. And the reason I love this one is because as I have evolved into an adult, into my 50 fun, uh, it, I think, and Krista, you can tell me what you think, but I think that I've gone from focusing on one thing to understanding more about how my mind works and that I need a bunch of other little things.
I mean, I think you've always need. I don't really understand the question. What exactly are you asking me?
Like, I'm really passionate about this one thing or my career being this one thing, but understanding that sometimes you can chop it up into different aspects and do different things. It doesn't all have to be in one thing. Like, I just want my career to be this. It can be a little bit of this, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that.
Yeah, I think you're doing more of that now than you used to. Well, because you're aware of, and that's the thing with all of this, right? Is as you become aware of it, you that allows you to learn how to work with it. Versus if you don't know how you're essentially created,
Mm-hmm.
this is all is determined by the stars when we're born. Also, what a great validation that like we are not just like people on a planet, but there's so much more to life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
But when you don't know those things, I think we tend to have a tendency to try to fight against the things that we think are wrong with us, or like, you know, I'm tired all the time and I don't feel inspired as often as I should. And as
Mm-hmm.
soon as you figure out, oh, well, I'm super low in fire in my natural astrology chart, now you can look at things as, oh, okay, that's just how my natural, disposition is. What can I
Right.
do to support that versus trying all these other things that, you would naturally. So, like, I'm going to use me for example. I'm primarily air and water. My natural inclination would be to do things that feed into the air and water, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily knowing that actually I need to be focusing on the things that stimulate the fire, which would be things like everything we've talked about so far. Where for you, same thing, you're naturally fire. So you're going to naturally gravitate to those things that stimulate more fire, when
Mm-hmm.
really it would be very helpful for you to also look at those things that maybe wouldn't be so natural to you. So, yeah, I mean, now that you've become aware of these things, you absolutely are now just operating in a different way because you're aware of what it
Right.
is actually beneficial to you versus just like shooting in the dark and hoping that something sticks.
Yeah. And I think it's so helpful when you understand the different elements and then put it into real world talk.
Yeah.
Like, okay, when I was doing tai chi, I was strengthening my air. I was giving myself more air and more wind, and I
Yeah.
was bringing that element into my life. Um, you
Well, and
know,
you take this, when we first had this conversation, I had looked into it because I was curious. I was reading about it or talking to someone about it, and I started looking into it for our family. And then you took it to the next level of, let's also not just look at the elements in our chart and what it means for us, but also how those elements play together, which is what alchemy is. That's
right.
one of the things, that's your passion.
That's
One of
my
them
passion.
is alchemy and how those things play together, which, just kind of going full circle and circling back to earlier in the conversation, that's where you're naturally fire. So, of course, something like karaoke, when you're really tapping into air, is going to fuel that fire. It's going to make you feel even more confident, even more powerful, even more energized.
Right.
Where, like you were saying, something like water is going to bring you back down, kind of reset you. It's like pouring out of a bonfire, and then you can light it again pretty quickly, but like it brings it back down.
Right.
Uh, and really learning to even play with those elements is really
Right.
interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, alchemy is definitely it's so interesting, and same thing. So like if you have a lot of ground in
Mhm,
your chart and
mhm,
then you add in air,
mhm.
well, what happens when there's wind and air and a lot of ground? You're going to get a sandstorm,
No, tornado.
tornado.
Now, this is the really fun part of this conversation that we had, was figuring out like the natural.
Mhm.
I feel like some of them were natural disasters, but like the natural, earthly, environmental. Do you remember what yours was?
Oh, mine was.
Was it a
I thought it was a hurricane.
no? I'm
No,
a
because I'm. That's right, because I'm fire and ground, so I'm a tornado.
yeah, or you could be a forest fire.
No, because that would be wind. Well, yeah,
So no, a
no,
tornado
you're
would
right.
be
You're
wind.
right. You're right. I was the forest fire. I
Yeah,
was the forest fire, and I forget who in our family was the was the tornado. Um, but yeah, I mean, when you think about it like that, then you can kind of see how, like, what does that person have that correlates, or what do they have in common with a forest fire? A forest fire
mhm.
can be out of control, uh,
Cleansing,
cleansing, and
resetting.
there's rebirth that comes up, right? So it's resetting. Um,
Hmm.
sometimes people have to burn a fire to stop a fire.
Yeah.
Because when there's too much fire, the fire actually puts itself out.
Hmm.
And so when you look at it that way, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can then look at the people around you and go, okay, so if that's what they're like, then how, and I walk in and I'm like a wet rag, well, what's going to happen?
You're not a forest fire. You're humidity. You're
Oh,
water. You're fire and water, which creates steam. That's what it was. Or yeah, or evaporation. Your humidity slash evaporation.
oh, and yeah.
Steam slash evaporation, I guess.
Yeah. Humidity is fine. Hence why absolutely love living in Florida. Why I would never
Yeah.
live anywhere else. I am
Hmm.
just a humid type of girl. It's
And
fine.
hey, what's hilarious? What creates hurricanes? Evaporation and hot ocean.
So you add in some emotion and rain into my fire and humidity, and boy, we got a hurricane, and it is going to be
We've
named.
got we've got like a what was that movie? The movie with the Sharknado.
Oh, sure.
We've got a Sharknado situation going on.
That would be if you're fired up and I'm fired up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good point.
But I hope that this resonated on some level. I don't know if this was too high level, not too high level. Definitely let us know in the comments. Um, I think that thinking about life and yourself and your emotions and your personality as the elements which are out there, um, what lives in humidity? Think about it. Orchids bloom
True.
because they need the heat, and so when you think
You
about
know,
those
fly
things.
traps too.
Yes.
Hmm. They do great. I mean, really, it's anything in a tropical environment.
Yeah.
Everyone in Florida thrives in humidity. Well, I don't know about thrives, but
Well, I mean, it depends on who you are, but I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, we're here all day. You can find us. You can find me at mokshagrace.com. You can book a call. We can have conversations. You can keep coming to these lives. Next week, we're going to be talking about wind. That is the next element.
hmm.
And you can book a free compatibility call. And this is where we're just going to talk and see what is it that you need, what's going on in life, and how can I help you. There's also Odonata Community, which is a once a week uh, group coaching call. It's a great way to dive into coaching and commit monthly and see how you like it. And we have a great time on there. And what else? What else am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anything else?
If you want to join the email list, you can jump on that at mokeshgrace.com/email.
Yes. Yes. I
Hmm.
actually have that free meditation we should send out.
Yeah, you
Maybe
know what? Let's add it. We're going to be adding a freebies page to the website too, where there'll be some meditations, some like worksheets and things like that. Let's do that for next week's episode.
Yeah, I think
Because
that'll be
next week should be the end of the elements, yeah. Well, I guess there'd be fifth. I mean, are we doing the fifth element?
And for extra credit, if you watch The Fifth Element and come and talk to us about it
That's such a
during
great.
the episode, yeah, we are going to do The Fifth Element because that is one of the most important.
True. We should have that picture of Max ready to go.
Yeah,
Where he looked
absolutely.
like that little. What are those? I don't even know what they're called.
I don't know. But if you've never watched the movie Fifth Element, now you have two movies to watch:
Fifth
Lifeless
Element
and
with Bruce
Fifth Element.
Willis, 10 out of 10.
It's a little quirky, it's a little weird,
Great though.
but hang on till the end because it all makes sense.
Oh yeah, okay.
It does. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, join us next week. Thank you for joining us today. So glad you were here. Remember that you can make every day a really, really good day or a not great day. It is all up to you. So please make good choices.
Bye.
Bye.